What would you do if you were, and this is a hypothetical, right? So what if you were just looking through your email, you're sitting at a cafe, you're like at Badass Coffee of Hawaii in Virginia Beach, and you're looking at your through your emails, and you see an email from KDP customer support that's titled metadata update for your ASIN, and then apostrophe S just in case you have more. And you know, the the KDP, of course, is Kindle Direct Publishing, and you get this email metadata update, and it says, "Hello, we updated the metadata of the following ASINs because we found categories that did not match the nature of the content and may cause a misleading customer experience." And then they give the ASIN B0GDFJ6DS4, category dystopian fiction, marketplace US, ASIN, and then they give more, category post-apocalyptic science fiction, marketplace US. So as a result, we removed the unrelated categories from your title. Your book will remain available for sale on Amazon, and no further action is required from you on this matter. Okay. And then, so you're looking at that email and you just think to yourself, all right, well, what are they talking about? I think I know what book they're talking about. It might be The Intrusion Vector. And then again, so then you scroll through your email and another one comes in at the same time, and it says, "Re, your manuscript, incredible news and an offer of publication." And it says, Simon Schuster, editorial department. And it says, "Hello. I am thrilled to inform you that the editorial board has made a unanimous decision. We would be honored to publish your book. This is, of course, a very big deal for us, but the enthusiasm reached a new level when we received word that your work had a powerful champion, Stephen King. As you may know, Stephen is one of our flagship authors here at Simon & Schuster. He read your manuscript personally and has provided a blurb calling it, quote, a truly original and gripping read, unquote. His endorsement has generated tremendous excitement across our team. We would like to schedule a call to discuss the contract and next steps. Please let me know your availability. Warm regards, Nan Graham, Senior Editor, Simon & Schuster, 1230 Avenue of the Americas, New York, blah, 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 simonandschuster.com, right? So hypothetically, imagine if that happened. And you are already, you're free, you're independent, you've been publishing, you've come up with some quirky ideas for your books, like the fact that uploading them on Amazon, sometimes the table of contents comes out all funky, like because of something called flattening or whatever, that the table of contents, even if you didn't add one, Amazon attempts to automatically add one. And so instead of it having accurate page numbers, each chapter shows up as being on page 1, at least that's what it listed. So you just look at the table of contents and it's all 1s, or you look at it and it's all 4s. For whatever reason, it didn't process anything else other than that. And you plan on figuring out how to update that later, but you've already planned on making it so that those are going to be considered limited editions. So however many of those sell that are like that in the paperbacks and or hardcovers, you're going to leave it as is, and there'll be like a collector's item, because they're not going to be printed anymore once you decide that, hey, I'm I've learned how to, or I figured out how to update this, so now I'm just going to, I'm gonna change that and not have those available anymore. So, and so you're independent and you're publishing on your own, and you don't. It seems like a big deal. I mean, the phone call is, they want to set up a call, they want to contact you. It could be big money. Sometimes you get advances as authors, but there may be some elements of control that you may not want to give up. So hypothetically, right? If that were the case, if that was something that happened to you, what would you do? Would you take the offer? I mean, it's probably a good idea to at least take the call, right? Probably a good idea to at least take the call to find out what they're talking about. That's not a bad idea. Just to see what's up. So, but after you take the call, I mean, what would it take for you to accept that? Would it just be the prestige that you have a blurb written in your book by Stephen King? Would you, or that it's published by Simon and Schuster, which I don't know, is that one of the big 5 publishing houses? What would get you to decide that that's a good idea for you? Hypothetically, what would you do? Especially if you enjoy operating on your own and having the freedom to publish as you wish and learning the process and all that. And I don't know, maybe if you think that it will reflect well on you later, maybe you're working on starting your own agency as a literary agent, and maybe eventually you want to sign on other authors, up and coming authors, and even maybe start to figure out how to start your own publishing house yourself, and figure out distribution and where, who's going to print your books, and who's going to be the salesperson, who's going to, how you're going to get them into bookstores for the authors that you sign. And maybe having a published book endorsed by such a legendary author and from a major publishing house would reflect well. So there's a lot to think of there, right? So I'm curious, what would you do in that situation? It would be great if something like that happened. I'm sure there are a lot of people I know who would jump at that chance. And, there was a time when I certainly would have no doubt about it. But now with the publishing landscape and how quickly the world is changing and everything that's going on with technology, specifically AI and self-publishing, and when you understand how to use things in a certain way, how your learning curve is amplified exponentially. And so much more can be done on your own or with a very small team, rather than having to go through all of these different, channels and go-betweens. And it may be exciting to do that. It's up for every individual to decide. So just a thought. If that happened, remember, this is a completely hypothetical situation. It's a thought experiment. I'm just wondering about it. It's just a curious thing that has come to my mind. I am Hakeem Ali Bokus Alexander, World Reading Club.